building up a basic demo with Babylon.js. And our main goal is to create these three shapes just like we did with the A-frame. So Babylon.js is one of the most popular 3D game engines used by developers. As with any other 3D library, it provides built-in functions to help you implement common 3D functionality more quickly. In this article, we will take you through the real basics of using Babylon.js, including setting up a development environment, structuring the necessary HTML, and writing the JavaScript code. We will try to create a simple demo first, a cube render on the screen. If you have already worked through our building up a basic demo series with 3.js, plain canvas, or A-frame, or you are familiar with other 3D libraries, you'll notice that Babylon works on similar concepts: camera, light, and objects. Environment setup. To start developing with Babylon.js, you don't need much. You should start off by making sure you are using a modern browser with good WebGL support, such as the latest Firefox or Chrome, creating a directory to store your experiments in. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna go to my folder. I'm gonna go to my folder programming.js, and here we're gonna create this new folder. I'm gonna just name it Babylon, like this. Okay, and let's just right click and open in terminal. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna type in code space that, so I can open it in Visual Studio Code. Okay, that's that. I'm gonna press Ctrl tilde so I can open my incorporated terminal, and I can close this terminal here. Okay, so I'm gonna close that. Now, saving a copy of the latest Babylon.js engine inside your directory, so we can click here. And okay, so let me see, let's just okay, I just triple click, and now what I'm gonna do is, okay, copy, and I'm gonna create a file. So I'm gonna create a file, and I'm gonna name it Babylon.js, like that, and I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, this might take, okay, yeah, and just save it. So we have that for now. And also you can check out in the same, we can close this one, in the same website we also have the GitHub. And if you go here, the Babylon, you can go into the JS, and you can pretty much just download this file here. So we can download this file, and yeah, you don't have to, you can just download it. You can just go here, and let me see, and just download the raw file, or you can just pretty much copy and paste, and you create your own file as we already did here. Okay, so you have it here for now. It's a lot of code, so let's close it. Let's keep moving. Okay, so opening the Babylon.js documentation. So let's close this one and let's open it. So this is the Babylon.js documentation. So welcome to the Babylon.js documentation. Okay, so we have that to this point. So open it in a separate tab. It is useful to refer to. So HTML structure, here is the HTML structure we are gonna use. So we are gonna, let me see, let's just copy this HTML. Yeah, let's just, since it's HTML, I'm just gonna copy it. Let me see, here's the basic HTML structure. We're just gonna name it index. So it's gonna be index.html, like that, and paste it this one. Okay, so yeah, nothing special. We have the doc type HTML. The HTML language is gonna be in English. There is gonna be -GB. Okay, so well, you can change it to US if you want, but now in the head, okay, so in the head we're gonna have the meta, the title, the style. Okay, so in the head we're gonna have the meta, we're gonna have the char set, and it's gonna set to the UTF-8. We're gonna have the title, it's gonna be MD Games Babylon.js demo. So let's save it, and let's just press Alt+L, Alt+O, or you can just right click, just pretty much right click and then open with live server. So we already have it here. There's nothing here, but you can check out the title is MD Games Babylon.js demo. So we have that up to this point. So okay, so inside of the body we have the meta, we have the title, okay, we have the style, and this style we have the HTML, the body, and the canvas. And inside of the canvas we have some CSS. So we open curly braces, we have the margin, we're setting it to 0. The padding we're also setting it to 0. The width we are setting it to 100%. The height we are setting it to 100%. And the front side we are setting it to 0. Then, well, this is inside of the style, so we're gonna use some CSS, but this is inside of the style, and this is inside of the head. Okay, outside of the head we have the body. Okay, so inside of the body we have the script source, the Babylon. Let me see if I type it right. So yeah, Babylon.js, that's fine. So this is gonna be this one. This is the script inside of the body, and we're gonna have the canvas with the ID render-canvas, that's fine. Then we're gonna have another script, and inside this script we're gonna have some JavaScript. So we have this constant declaration in canvas, and we are setting it to the document that get element by ID, and we're passing the render-canvas. So that's pretty much it. All your JavaScript code goes here. So yeah, we can, so let me see, probably we're gonna start typing some JavaScript here, or you can just create a new file, and let's say you name it main.js, so you just pretty much delete this part, or just copy this part and paste it in the main.js, and your script you just put your source, and you put source and then the name of the JavaScript file. But let's keep moving. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so it contains some basic information like the document title, so we already have the document title here, and some CSS to set the width and height of the canvas element, which Babylon.js will use to render the content on. To fill the entire available viewport space, the first script element includes the Babylon.js library and the page. We will write our example code in the second one. Let me see, there is one helper variable already included which will store a reference to the canvas element. So before reading, I'll copy this code to a new text file and save it in your working directory as index.html. So we already did that. Now initializing the Babylon.js engine. So we have created a Babylon.js engine instance first, passing it to the canvas element to render on. Before we start developing our game, add the following code to the bottom of your second script element. So here, let me see, add the following code to the bottom of your second script element. So we are gonna go, they're talking about, this is the first script, this is the second script. Let's just, okay, or let's just, yeah, let's do it their way. So we are gonna have this constant declaration name engine like this, and we are gonna set in it to new, the keyword new, and it's gonna be in uppercase letter. Okay, Babylon.js, let me see, okay, Babylon.engine, and we're gonna pass in the canvas like that. So, and then we're gonna close it, we're gonna end this statement with a semicolon. Okay, so nothing is changing. Now the Babylon global object contains all the Babylon.js functions available in the engine. Now creating a scene, so pretty similar to A-frame. A scene is the place where all the game content is displayed. While creating new objects in the demo, we will be adding them to all of the scene to make them visible on the screen. Let's create a scene by adding the following lines just below our previous code. So just below our previous code, and we are gonna go, let me see, we have the canvas, the engine, we are gonna hold, let me see, let's continue here. So we're gonna have the constant, we're gonna have here, we're gonna name it const. This is gonna be the constant declaration, and we're gonna name it scene, and we are gonna set it to, let me see, so we're gonna end it up with semicolon. And okay, so here we're gonna have the keyword new, and here we're gonna have in the Babylon dot, and now we're gonna have the scene. So as you can see, it's uppercase like this, and kind of like a, well, scene is that scene, so the first letter is with capital letter, and Babylon dot scene, and we're passing in the engine like that, so that's fine. Semicolon at the end. Okay, and now we're gonna use this variable that scene, and we're gonna use the method. So we're gonna have scene that clear, okay, clear color, so that clear color in camel notation, and we're gonna set it to the keyword new Babylon, so it's gonna be Babylon, the that, and then color like that. Again, the first letter is initialize, uppercase letter, so color 3, and now we're gonna set it to, okay, so open parentheses, we're gonna have 0.8 comma 0.8, and then finally 0.8. so we have that, and we can pretty much end it up with a semicolon, and nothing has changed yet. So we have this constant scene. Now we have the clear colors. We are setting it to new Babylon dot color 3. We're passing the end. Okay, so 0. Okay, that's fine. Now, thus the scene is created, and the second line sets the background color to light gray. So let me see, light gray. Okay, creating a rendering loop to make sure, okay, to make the scene actually visible, we have to render them at these lines at the end of the script element, just before closing the script. So we are gonna have this function. So let me see, you know what, this one is gonna get a little bit messy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna create I'm just gonna name it main.js like that, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut the whole thing, this whole code here. I'm just gonna cut it and paste it here. So yeah, like that, because it's just gonna get a little bit messy, maybe it's gonna get more confused. So I'm just gonna leave it like that, save it, and okay, so here in this script I'm just gonna add a source and then the name of this file that is gonna be main. So I'm just gonna save it like that, and it's gonna be pretty much the same. Now we're gonna work in this main.js JavaScript file, so you can name it whatever you want, but let's keep moving. So now we're gonna have this function. So we're gonna have this function named render. We're gonna open parentheses, and okay, it's gonna be render loop with camel notation. Okay, render loop. Okay, so now we're gonna open curly braces, and we're gonna have the scene, and we're gonna use the method is gonna be this render like that. We're gonna open parentheses, end it with a semicolon, and okay, we're gonna go below of the parentheses, the outside of the curly braces of the function render loop, and okay, let's save it for now. Nothing is changing, and we're gonna have the engine. Okay, it's gonna be engine that, okay, we're gonna use this method. It's gonna be, no, I don't have it yet, run render loop. So run render, and then it's gonna be loop, and we are gonna pass in the render loop. So it's gonna be a render loop like that, and we're gonna end this statement with a semicolon. Okay, so nothing is changing yet. So here we are using the engine's run render loop method to execute the render loop function repeatedly on every frame. The loop will continue to render indefinitely until told to stop, creating the camera. Okay, so now the setup code is in place. We need to think about implementing the standard scene components, camera, lighting, objects. Let's start with the camera. Add this line to your code below, the scene creation, and add the line where we define the clear color. So add this line to your code below the scene creation, and the line where we define clear color. So we are gonna have this, let me see, this is the scene just before. So okay, let me see, add this line to your code below the scene creation and the line where we define. So we're gonna have here, so we're gonna have this constant declaration named camera. So it's gonna be camera, and we're gonna set it to this keyword new, and there's gonna be Babylon, and we're gonna have this uppercase. The first letter, it has to be an uppercase letter, so it's gonna be free. Okay, free, and then camera notation, camera. Okay, open parentheses, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna have this string that is gonna be named camera. We're gonna separate it with that comma, and now we're gonna have the new, and then it's gonna be Babylon, and then we're gonna have that vector like this. Oops, it's gonna be vector. First letter is in uppercase, vector 3, and then we're gonna have 0 comma 0 comma, and then it's gonna be -10. So we can save it for now, separate it with a comma, and then we're gonna have in the scene, and we're gonna separate this one with a comma, and then have this statement with a semicolon. Okay, so we have that, and nothing is changing yet. So yeah, now there are many cameras available in the Babylon.js. Free camera is the most basic and universal one. To initialize it, you need to pass it 3 parameters: any name you want to use for it, the coordinates where you want to it be positioned in the 3D space, and the scene you want to add to it. So note, you probably notice that Babylon, that vector 3 method is used here. This defines a 3D position on the scene. Babylon.js is bundled with a complete math library for handling vectors, colors, matrices, etc. Okay, so now let there be light. There are various light sources available in the Babylon.js. The most basic one is the point light, which works like a flashlight, shining a spotlight in a given direction at the following line below your camera definition. Okay, so we are gonna go right here. We're gonna have this constant declaration name light. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty similar. So we have this constant declaration name line, then we're gonna use the keyword new, and then it's gonna be Babylon, and we're gonna have the method. This time is gonna be point line. The first letter is uppercase letter, so it's gonna be point light. So camel notation, open parentheses, then we're gonna have light. Let me see. Oh no, yeah, just light normal this stream. So the second argument is gonna be the keyword new, and then it's gonna be Babylon, and then that vector 3. Okay, and we're gonna pass in the parameters 10, 0. Okay, so we have that, a comma to separate, and then we're gonna have in the scene. Okay, we can save it up to this point, and now we ended up this one with a semicolon at the end. So we haven't created any object up to this point, so that's the reason we have not seen anything. Now the parameters are very similar to the previously defined camera. The name of the light, a position in 3D space, and the scene to which the light is added geometry. Now the scene is properly rendering, we can start adding 3D shapes to it. Okay, to speed up the development, Babylon.js provides a bunch of predefined primitives that you can use to create shapes instantly in a single line of code. There are cubes, spheres, cylinders, and more complicated shapes available. Let's start by defining the geometry for a box shape. Add the following new code below your previous addition. Okay, so finally we're gonna have, let me see, we're gonna have this counts, and we are gonna have in this variable named box, and we are gonna set it to the Babylon, and the method is gonna be mesh. So there's the first one is capital letter, and well, it's gonna have that mesh, and then the method is gonna be named create box, okay, like that. And we're gonna pass into parameters, so it's gonna be the box, and then the second one is gonna be, well, it's gonna be 3, the second one is gonna be the number 2, and then the third one is gonna be the variable scene, like that, scene, okay. And the variable scene we have declared in line 5, so let's just save it for now. So now if we go into our index.html file and we press Alt+L+O, or well, this is with the object that we are going to be looking at it. So a mesh is a way the engine creates geometric shapes so materials can be easily applied to them later on. In this case, we are creating a box using the mesh.createBox method with its own name, a size of 2, and a declaration of which scene we want to add it. So here, the size or position values, e.g. for the box size, are unitless and can basically be anything you think suitable for the scene. Millimeters, meters, feet, or miles is up to you. If you save and refresh now, so like we already did here, we are saving it and we are refreshing it. So right now we only have a square here. Okay, so your object will look like a square because it's facing the camera. The good thing about object is that we can move them on the scene however we want, for example rotating and scaling. Let's apply a little rotation to the box so we can see more than one face. Again, add these lines below the previous one. So we are gonna go into our JS, into our main.js, and let me see, we're gonna go into the back. Okay, so let's apply this so we can see more. Again, add these lines below the previous one. So we are gonna go, it's gonna be light box, is gonna be right here. Okay, so we are gonna add this, box, and it's gonna be that rotation. So it's gonna be this method rotation, rotation, like that. And we're gonna open parentheses, oops, we're gonna that x, so we're gonna box that rotation, that x, and now we're gonna open parentheses, oops, not, we're gonna set it to negative, and it's gonna be 0.2, like that. Let me see, so let's save it for now. And as you can see, we can see this cube taking shape. As you can see, this is dark peach, but this is kind of like a metallic. Okay, so now we're gonna have the box that rotation, that y, and we're gonna set it to negative 0.4. so we're gonna go below and we're gonna have box that rotation, that y, and this time we're gonna set it to negative 0.4, and we're gonna end it with a semicolon. We're gonna end the statement with a semicolon, and if we go here, as you can see, it's taking the shape. So that's pretty cool, so that's fine. The box looks black at the moment because we haven't defined any material to apply to its faces. Let's deal with that next. Material is the thing covering the object, the colors or texture on its surface. In our case, we will use a simple blue color to paint our box. There are many types of materials that can be used, but for now the standard one should be enough for us. So add these lines below the previous ones. Okay, so below the previous ones, we're gonna go here, and now we're gonna have this constant declaration name box material, and we're gonna use camel notation. So it's gonna be cans, and then it's gonna be box material. So, and we are gonna set the box material, we're gonna set it to the keyword new, and then we're gonna type in Babylon. Okay, that's fine. And then that, and then the first letter, it has to be in a capital letter, so it's gonna be standard. So it's gonna be standard, so standard material. Okay, now camel notation material, like that. It's gonna be new Babylon, that is standard material. And now inside of the parentheses, we are gonna pass into parameters the stream material, like that, inside double quotes, and then we're gonna pass in the scene. Let me see, and we're gonna end this statement with a semicolon. So let's see if this is changing. Okay, so nothing is changing yet. Now let me see, we're gonna use the box material, so the constant that we have created. So the box material, so we're gonna use this constant box material, and we're gonna use a method. So, and it's gonna be emissive color, so it's gonna be okay, let me see, it's gonna be emissive color like this, camel notation, and we're gonna set it to the keyword new, and then it's gonna be Babylon. So let me see, Babylon dot, and we're gonna use the method color, and it's gonna be color 3. We're gonna open parentheses and new Babylon dot color 3, and again remember this first letter after the dot of the Babylon, it has to be capital letter. So here we're gonna have some numbers. We're gonna have 0, 0.58, and then comma, and we're gonna have 0.86, so 0.86. Ended up this statement with a semicolon. Oops, here ended up with a semicolon. And okay, let's check it out. Nothing's changing yet. And now we're gonna grab the box that material. Let me see, we're gonna grab the box that material, and we're gonna set it to this constant variable, so the box material. So let me see, we're gonna go here, and we're gonna use the box. Okay, we're gonna use the box. We're gonna use this this constant variable, that material. No, let me see, box that material like that, and we are gonna set it to this variable here, the box material. So like that, and there with a semicolon. Let me see, box that material, we are gonna set it to the box material. And okay, so now as you can see, it's changing. Let me see, no, I cannot apply it, I cannot move it also. Okay, that's fine. Now the standard material takes two parameters, a name and the scene you want to add to it. The second line defines an emissive color, the one that will be visible for us. We can use the built-in color 3 function to define it. The third line assigns the newly created material to our box. Congratulations, you created your first object in a 3D environment using Babylon.js. It was easier than you thought, right? Here's how it should look like. So as you can see, we have this pretty much the same object in our, as you can see here, so that's fine. Now here is the code you have created so far if you want to check it out. So we have, this is the JavaScript. They are using the JavaScript inside of the HTML file. I created my own main.js file, and in this main.js file is what I'm going to type in my JavaScript. Okay, you can follow along with them if you want. So, and they are using var instead of count, so that's fine. They have also the HTML, and that's pretty much it. So also, if you click here, this is the GitHub, you can follow along with the code here. They are using var, so this is just some minor changes that they are modifying here and there, but that's fine. Now more shapes. So we have a box on the scene already. Now let's try adding more shapes. We have the torus, so let's try adding a torus at the following lines below the previous code in JS. So if you want, you can just copy and paste it, but let's just type it in. So again, it has to be okay, it's gonna be here. We're gonna have this constant declaration named torus like this, and we are gonna set it to, it's gonna be Babylon dot, and it's gonna be mesh like this. The first letter after the dot after the Babylon has to be uppercase, and then that, and then again capital, the first letter, create box, create torus, torus. And now we're gonna open parentheses. Inside the parentheses we're gonna pass in the torus. We're also gonna pass another parameter that is gonna be the number 2, the number 0.5, and finally the number 15. Okay, and finally, after those numbers, we're gonna pass in the scene, and we're gonna end the statement with a semicolon. Okay, so we have that, and as you can see, it looks kind of funny, but we're gonna keep moving. So now we are gonna have the torus that position that x. So we're gonna go here, we're gonna use the torus variable that we have, torus that let me see, position, torus that okay, torus that position that x, and we are gonna set it to some value, and it's gonna be -5, like that, semicolon at the end. So it's gonna be torus that position that x set to -5. We can save it, and let's check it out. And as you can see, it's looking something like this. That's fine. Now we're gonna have again, it's gonna be torus that position, and this time it's gonna be y, and we're gonna set it to something. So let's check out. Oh, okay, those, so they are still in the x, but now it's gonna be 1.5, and it's gonna be rotation, so 1.5. So let's check it out just to see what's going on. So this is how since I use the torus position, that y is moving vertical, it's moving in the upper level. So but this one is gonna be rotation, it's gonna be rotation, okay, according to this manual of this website, and it's gonna be that x. So we can save it for now, and as you can see, we are rotating it to the x coordinates axis. So we have that. Let's end this statement with a semicolon as well. Okay, so now what else do we have? This will create a torus and add it to the scene. The parameters are name, diameter, thickness, tessellation, number of segments, and the scene to add to it. We also position it a bit to the left and rotate it on the x-axis so it can be seen better. Now let's add a material. So now we're gonna add a material, and we're gonna go just below here, and we're gonna have this constant declaration name torus material. So camel notation, const, and it's gonna be torus material, like that. So torus material, we're gonna set it to the new, and it's gonna be Babylon that. We're gonna use the standard material, so it's gonna be, let me see, the second one, standard material, open parentheses, and we're gonna have two parameters. So it's gonna be the material, and the second parameter is just gonna be the scene. So we can save it. Okay, and let's end up this statement with a semicolon. Okay, so nothing is changing yet. Let me see, const torus material, set it to new, Babylon that standard material. We have the material in the scene. Then we're gonna have the torus material, that emissive color. So it's gonna be let me see, emissive color, and we are gonna set it to the keyword new, and it's gonna be Babylon, and it's gonna be that color 3. So I have it here, open parentheses, and we're gonna pass in 3 values. Those are gonna be 0.4, 0.4, 0.4. Okay, ended up with semicolon at the end. Okay, that's fine. And now we're gonna use the okay, so we're gonna move here, and we're gonna use the torus constant declaration that and it's gonna be material, and we're gonna set it to the torus material. So to this one, semicolon at the end. Let me see, torus that material, and we're gonna set it to the torus material. So let's see, and it's changing color, as you can see. That's fine. Let's keep moving. It looks similar to the box element. We're creating the standard material, giving it a grayish color, and assign it to the torus. Now finally, to end this tutorial, we're gonna deal with the cylinder. Creating a cylinder and its material is done in almost exactly the same way as we did for the torus. Add the following code again at the bottom of your script. So we're gonna add this piece of code, and it's gonna be here. So we're gonna have this constant declaration name cylinder, like this, and we are gonna set it to the Babylon. We're gonna set it to the Babylon that that mesh, okay, and then it's gonna be that create cylinder, that create okay, create cylinder. Let me see, create cylinder, okay, Babylon that mesh that create cylinder, and we're gonna pass in we're gonna have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 parameters. So okay, so we're gonna pass in the cylinder. Okay, this is a stream. Then we're gonna pass in some numbers. It's gonna be 2 comma 2, no 2, okay, 2 comma 2 comma let me see, 2, and then comma 12, and then comma 1. And finally we are gonna pass in the scene like this, semicolon at the end. And let me see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, that's fine. And okay, so we're gonna move it now, okay, to the x coordinates. Let me see. Okay, so what is gonna be to the positive. Okay, so we're gonna use the cylinder position that x, and we're gonna set it to 5. So we are right here, and we're gonna use this constant declaration named cylinder that position, okay, that x, and we're gonna set it to 5, semicolon at the end. And this is what we have so far. So this is this black cylinder. Now we're gonna use the rotation, and we're gonna set it to negative 0.4. So it's gonna be the cylinder that rotation that x, and it's gonna be set to negative 0.2, semicolon at the end. And let me see, what do we have here? So yeah, it's moving a little bit, that's fine. Let me see, that's right. So that is cylinder that rotation that x, and then set to negative 0.2. okay, that's fine. Now we're gonna have this constant declaration name cylinder. So we're gonna have this constant declaration name cylinder material. So it's gonna be cylinder material like that, and we're gonna set it to the keyword. We're gonna set it to the keyword new Babylon. Okay, then we're gonna use the method, and the method is gonna be standard material. Okay, so it's gonna be that standard material, the second one. Okay, Babylon, that is standard material, and we're gonna pass in 2 parameters. So it's gonna be this material, it's gonna be this material, and the second one is gonna be the scene. So one is a word, and the other is a string. So we have the material string, and then we have the scene. Okay, so one is inside double quotes, and the other is not. So we have that up to this point. Okay, so let me see. Now that we have created this constant declaration name cylinder material, we are gonna use it. Okay, so we're gonna cylinder material that emissive. So we're gonna change the color, it's emissive color, and we are gonna set it to the keyword new, and it's gonna be Babylon. And then we're gonna set it to color 3. Okay, so as you can see, color 3, and here we're gonna pass in some numbers. So it's gonna be 1, it's gonna be 0.58, and then it's gonna be 0, semicolon at the end. We save it. Okay, nothing is changing. So let me see. Let's move it all the way up. Okay, so we have the cylinder. Okay, the cylinder material, that emissive color, we're setting it to new Babylon color, that color 3, and the numbers is 1, 0.58, and then 0. And now we're gonna use the cylinder, that material, and we're gonna set it to the cylinder material. Okay, we're gonna have this the constant declaration name cylinder. We're gonna use the method that is gonna be the material like that, and we're gonna set it to the cylinder material like that. So okay, the cylinder is the constant declaration, the material is the method, and we're gonna set it to this constant declaration name cylinder material. So like that, save it. And okay, so it has changed. So this is what we have so far. Okay, now The cylinder parameters are name, height, diameter at the top, diameter at the bottom, tessellation, height, subdivisions, and the scene to add to it. It is then positioned to the right of the cube, rotated a bit so its 3D shape can be seen and given a yellowish or a yellow material. Here's how the scene should look right now. So we have that. This work, but it's a bit boring. In a game, something is usually happening. We can see animations and such, so let's try to breathe a little life into those shapes by animating them. So as you can see, we have these three objects, but they're not doing anything so far, so that's cool. But let's give it some life. So now we're gonna have animation. So we already use position and rotation to adjust the position of the shapes. We could also scale them to show actual animation. We need to make changes to these values inside the rendering loop at the end of our code, so they are updated on every frame. Define a helper variable t that we will use for animation just before the render, just before the render loop, and decrement it on every frame inside the loop like this. So we are gonna go, this is the function render. Let me see what else do we have here. And so below we're just gonna have this let declaration name t, and we're gonna initialize it. We're gonna initialize it to 0. That's fine. Inside of the curly braces we have the scene that render. That's fine. And below that we're gonna have this constant, this let declaration name t, and now we're gonna set it to, we're gonna have this negative and then equal sign. This is the subtraction operator, and we're gonna set it to 0.00, to 0.01. And this is pretty much saying that t is gonna be from t and then minus 0.01. so that's pretty much it. So what else do we have here? Animation code goes here, so we're gonna start typing some animation code, but let's just save it for now. And so nothing is changing. Now let me see what else, if we're missing something. No, we're not missing anything. Let me see. So just making sure everything is good. The t variable will be incremented on every render frame. Rotation, applying the rotation is as easy as adding this line at the bottom of the render function. So it's gonna be at the bottom of the render function. So we're gonna type it right here, and we're gonna have this box, the box declaration. We're gonna use the method rotation, and we're gonna use the method, the y coordinate, and we're gonna set it to this helper t, and we're gonna multiply it by 2. Semicolon at the end. That's fine. And as you can see, the cube is moving around the y-axis. As you can see, is moving. It's giving some life to it. That's cool. It will rotate the box along the y-axis. So the y-axis, imagine, is the vertical line. It will be from the top to bottom to top, and the x coordinates is from left to right or horizontal. Now scaling, add this line below the previous one to scale the torus. So we're gonna go here, and we're gonna use the torus. We're gonna use the method scaling. Is gonna be scaling that z. So we're gonna use the z coordinate, and we're gonna set it to the mesh, and we're gonna use the apps. Let me see, apps like that. So we're gonna have math.apps, and inside of that we're gonna pass in the math, and we're gonna have some formulas here. We're gonna have the sign, we're gonna have the t as multiplied by 2. Outside of that we're gonna have let me see. So math, let me see, Okay, so outside of the second, okay, so it's gonna be mash that apps, and then we're gonna have the math that sign the t multiplied by 2. So outside of that we're gonna add it, and it's gonna be 0.5. So let me see, 0.5, ended up with a semicolon, and let's give it a try, let's give it a look. Okay, nothing is changing. Let me see if I did it right. Okay, so we have the torus that is scaling that z, and then we have math. Okay, so I put mesh, it has to be math, that apps. Okay, then we're passing math that sign multiply d by 2. Okay, outside of those two parentheses we're gonna add 0.5, and now it's working. So as you can see, this torus is changing, it's moving also from up, from bottom to the top. Okay, that's fine. There's a little bit of adjustment made to make the animation look and feel nice. You can experiment with the values and see how it affects the animation moving. By changing the position of the cylinder directly, we can move it on the seam at this line below the previous one. So we're almost done here, and we're gonna go here and we're gonna deal with the cylinder now, and we're gonna use the method. The method that we're gonna use is gonna be position that y, and we are gonna set it to the math. We're gonna set it to the math that sign, we're gonna open parentheses, d multiply by 2. Let me see, oops, well, let's check it out what happens if we multiply by 2. Okay, so yeah, those three objects are working, so let's just keep it simple and let multiply by 3. Okay, so it's going a little bit up, and you can play around, so you can, I don't know, multiply by 9. So let's see what happens. As you can see, that's pretty cool. So let's just leave it in 3, and let's keep moving. Okay, so the cylinder will float up and down on the y-axis thanks to the math.send function. Conclusion: here is the final code listing along with the viewable live example. So you have the JavaScript here, the HTML, and we don't have the CSS here, but that's pretty much it. So, and you can also check out this and the GitHub, as you already know it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's all we have for the building up a basic demo with the Babylon.js. So this is our final product.